Deep down, every single human is certain of one thing. Your chance of dying is exactly 100%. But what if higher math and quantum mechanics say you're dead wrong? What if right now there is a non-zero chance that you are technically immortal? In this video, we're breaking down how to actually measure danger, how mathematics literally cancels your death, and what the real odds are for the end of humanity. How do you even measure danger? In liters of adrenaline? Beats per minute? Back in the 1970s, Stanford professor Ronald Howard realized humanity needed a precise, standardized unit to measure fear, the micromort. It's the official scientific unit of lethal risk, calculated by taking the number of deaths from a specific activity, dividing it by the total participants, and multiplying by 1 million. Mathematically, 1 micromort equals a 1 in a million chance of dying. Think of it as drawing a single black card out of a deck of 1 million. Pull that card, and it's game over. Just by waking up and breathing today, you're paying a built-in existence tax. On average, a healthy person burns through about 24 micromorts every single day. That is your baseline risk of dying from natural causes within the next 24 hours. But the moment you step outside, you start spending micromorts on purpose. Drive 250 miles in a car? You just paid 1 micromort. Want to save time and ride those same 250 miles on a motorcycle? Boom, that's 60 micromorts. Your risk just shot up 60 times. Skydiving? That'll run you 10 micromorts per jump. You pay roughly the same price to climb a standard, non-technical mountain peak. At its core, life is just a series of transactions where we buy thrills, comfort, and travel, paying with fractions of our own mortality. So, Howard's math is bulletproof. Every day, you draw cards from a 1,000,000-card deck. But what if this deck is way more rigged than you think? What if every single time you pull that fatal black card, the universe resets the game so smoothly you don't even notice? In 1957, physicist Hugh Everett proposed something insane, yet mathematically airtight: the many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics. According to Everett, our universe never chooses. Every time a quantum event has two possible outcomes, reality physically splits into two parallel branches. In branch A, event A happens. In branch B, event B happens. Both exist simultaneously. To grasp how this literally breaks death, physicists Max Tegmark and Hans Moravec designed a terrifying thought experiment called quantum suicide. Imagine a device pointed at a person, trigger pulled. If a quantum particle decays, the gun fires. If it doesn't, you just hear a click. Your odds of dying are exactly 50%. In Howard's terms, that's a staggering 500,000 micromorts. The experiment runs. Instantly, the universe splits. In world number 1, the gun fires. For friends, family, and the rest of that specific universe, death is real. They record a tragedy. But what does the person behind the trigger actually experience? Your consciousness is a continuous stream of information. It is physically impossible for your mind to observe its own non-existence or its own death. You cannot wake up in a world where you don't exist. Which means, from the observer's subjective viewpoint, their consciousness instantly, and with 100% certainty, snaps to the only branch of the multiverse where the trigger just went click. Run it a second time, a third time, 1,000,000 times. For the outside world, the odds of surviving this quantum Russian roulette drop to 0. But the experimenter? All they will ever hear is an endless series of clicks. For them, the probability of dying stays at a hard 0%. This paradox is called quantum immortality, and if the many worlds interpretation is right, every time you walked away from a brutal car crash, survived a high-stakes surgery, or cheated death, you actually died in millions of other universes. On Howard's invisible scoreboard, you pulled the black card, but you'll never know it. Your conscious self is permanently trapped in the only remaining reality where you got lucky. Time for the bigger question. What are the actual odds of death, not for an individual, but for all of humanity? When hits our collective doomsday? In 1983, astrophysicist Brandon Carter formulated a mathematical thought experiment known as the doomsday argument. Statistically, you are highly likely to be a completely average, ordinary observer sitting somewhere near the middle of history, not a unique pioneer standing at its absolute dawn. Imagine being dropped into a massive closed stadium. You have no idea what the game is, how big the venue is, or how many tickets were sold. Complete, total darkness. At the gate, they hand you a random ticket. You look down and it reads, Number 115. Suddenly, you overhear two mathematicians arguing about the total attendance. The first guy yells, "This is a massive global event. There are going to be 100 million people here." The second shrugs and says, "Nah, it's just a local game. Total crowd is probably around 200. You can't see the future. You don't know the final head count. But you hold ticket 115 in your hand. Who do you bet on?" Basic logic forces you to pick the second guy. Why? Because if only 200 people show up, holding ticket 115 is completely normal. You are sitting right in the middle of the crowd. But if 100 million people were coming, the odds that you, a random spectator, pulled a ticket in the first fraction of a percent is roughly 0.0001%. It's practically impossible. Here's the kicker. We don't know how many humans will ever be born in the future. It could be 200 billion. It could be 100 trillion. But we do know our exact ticket number right now. 115 billion. If a limitless spacefaring future awaits us with quadrillions of future humans, then you and I are insanely lucky lottery winners who managed to draw card 115 billion out of a quadrillion card deck. We somehow landed in the first 0.0001% of Homo sapiens. But if humanity's total deck is small, our 115 billionth ticket suddenly becomes logical, normal, and highly probable. What about it? The more humans that are born in the future, the lower the odds that you and I were born at the very dawn of humanity. Which means, statistically speaking, we are far more likely to be sitting right around the dead center of our entire journey,